Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining our third and final event of our financial literacy series, Everything About Insurance. I'm Camille and the McGill Young Alumni's VP membership, and I will be your moderator for today's event. As a brief introduction, the MYA aims to connect alumni within 10 years of graduation to build a diverse and international network. So if you graduate this semester, you automatically become a Young Alumni, and we hope to see you around. Our network provides opportunities and tools for professional and personal growth. With tax season that has passed, the recent boom of cryptocurrency, and the financial stress brought by this pandemic, we felt there was a real need around providing access to key financial knowledge in hopes of contributing to the financial health of our community members. Feel free to connect with us on our socials and submit topics you'd like us to cover next time. This event closes our three-part series where industry experts share their knowledge on topics like how to use RRSP, TFSA accounts, how to save, invest for financial goals, manage your credit, your debts, and today it's all about insurance. For those of you who didn't attend the first two events, you can find them online. We're joined today by two renowned guest speakers, Carmelina Manno from Manulife Financial and Jakub Stavinsky from TD Insurance. Thank you both for joining us today. Carmelina Manno is a Director of Account Management at Manulife Financial with over 20 years of service at Manulife. She leads a sales team which manages a nationwide network of 58 Canadian universities, banks, professional association to help them find opportunities to launch programs with major groups and corporation. She developed a global sales and executive training program that has graduated some of the top performing executives in the USA, Canada, Australia, South America. She will focus for the first 15 minutes of this presentation on health and dental insurance plans, as well as their additional features and benefits adjusted to today's digitalized world. Jakub Stavinsky is a group manager at TD Insurance. He has worked for the group over the last 10 years after graduating with a degree in management and international business. In recent years, he has managed teams who serves the Quebec, Alberta, and Atlantic markets. Jakub will provide critical insights today on home and car insurances, uncover some myths and ways to save our insurance premiums. The speaker will share the floor for a total of 30 minutes before answering your questions. Without further ado, Carmelina, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for having us today. And I wanted to, first of all, congratulate you on graduating from such an incredible institution as McGill. We've been partners with McGill for well over 40 years, supplying our health and dental and life benefits to their alumni. Really excited to speak with you today. So Manulife, we're an old brand. Our first president was John A. McDonald. It was established in 1887. We've got over 100,000 employees. Why do I tell you about that? It's an old establishment. That means there's money to pay your claims. So if you buy our insurance, what we really want is for you to actually claim on it. We do a lot of work with Volunteer Canada. And we even have like a Manulife matching tool to get you the best volunteer opportunities. Our tagline is always decisions made easier and lives made better. And the reason why we say that is because it's in our insurance and the way we work. We work through a gift reward system to make sure that you're doing healthy stuff to make you do better eating habits, better exercise habits, and everything. We insure 1 in 3 Canadians. So today we're going to talk about health and dental plans. Now that you graduated and you've lost your benefits with your parents and you've lost your school benefits and you're in between your new role, and so perhaps getting group insurance. So we're here to fill that gap. What ends up happening is that probably about 50% of people that buy health and dental straight out of school stay on the program in order to ensure that they have a top-up coverage. So perhaps through their work, they have a Manulife coverage anyway, and so they'll keep this plan to top up. So, you know, government doesn't cover prescriptions, drugs, dental, vision, specialist, massage, therapy, all of that stuff. So this plan comes in and takes over for that. 44% of your group benefit plans don't actually have dental coverage, and 49% don't have supplemental medical coverage. So we're trying to just fill that gap for you with this program. We have two different types. So if you have a pre-existing condition, something that does not allow for you to get insurance normally, we do have a plan for you. It's the bronze plan, it's the walk-in plan, and plus all of our dental plans aren't underwritten either. If you do go through medical underwriting, then you have all 16 options. And I say 16 options, like where do I start? We have Donica McIntosh here today with us, who works with me, and she's a licensed insurance agent. And so she can actually talk you through all of your needs, because there's so many different options, and it's all really based on, one, what do you need? Everybody has different needs. Two, how old are you? What part of your life are you in? Are you, what life stage? Do you have braces? Do you need, what are your needs? So based on that, our licensed insurance agent is here with me today. The other thing that comes in your plan is Health Services Navigator. And so this is such an excellent program, and you can access it through your phone, through your laptop, or through your mobile. And the idea there is it helps you with, weight loss. It helps you with navigating the health system. So if you want a second or a third or a fourth opinion from a doctor, you can get that. And it doesn't go through GHIP or any other plan. It goes through Manulife. We pay for that. So you don't offend a doctor, and you don't have to worry about how many times you have to see someone. So the idea there is just having a navigation tool to get you through the whole system, and it's worldwide. We also have virtual healthcare services. There are other things that we do through TELUS, but I'm going to suggest that you guys are probably between 25 and 30. So I don't think you need all of that other stuff, but this stuff, the virtual healthcare service, is awesome. I mean, it was so COVID ready for us. I remember I ended up with a bit of an infection. I wasn't well, didn't feel like going to the doctor or to the hospital in the middle of all this insanity. So I logged on to virtual healthcare system services, I beg your pardon, and I was able to get diagnosed and receive my antibiotics without ever having to leave my house. I got on the website with them. They asked me for my favorite pharmacy. My pharmacy delivered my antibiotic, and I just never left my house, and I had my prescription within 2 hours of the phone call. So it's really excellent service where you don't have to leave your house, and it's 24 hours. I just wanted to help you understand a little bit about medical marijuana. I know that, something you should know is that it's always been covered in these insurance plans, right? It's just now that it became legal that people got confused. So something that you should know is that with Manulife, we actually do it responsibly through Shoppers Drug Mart. We have a partnership with them. So we coordinate your medical marijuana so that you're not getting the wrong drugs and all of that. It's done, it's sophisticated and organized facilitation. And finally, about the coverage, and I'm doing a time check just to make sure we're okay, but it's a coverage that fits your budget. So just like I said, not every two people have the same needs, but once you graduate, you're without coverage, or your employer plan doesn't provide enough coverage, or you're self-employed. I've seen alumni from the various schools that we partner with across Canada, and they are self-employed, offer their coverage to their employees. So as I mentioned, you've got 4 health and dental plan choices, from base to bronze to silver to gold. And then from that, you have, 4 different dental choices and 4 different variations of medical coverages. So, and like I said, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to try and, I would say probably about 40% of the sales on this are through our website. It's a lot to navigate though. So, and if you wanted to talk to Donica, she's your best bet, and we'll have her come on a little later on. But as I mentioned in the initially, if you know you have an issue, something where it's pre-existing, the base plan is your best bet. And again, there's no what we call underwriting required. It's a guaranteed plan. If you're looking at, bronze and silver and gold, you're looking at an underwritten plan. So if you don't have any kind of pre-existing conditions, you can get in. So even just the base plan covers you, on your prescription drugs to $750, and the, and your dental to $400, and your vision care $100. And you can see the various plans, and we do have a website which we'll send you to, which will take you through each of these. So it has like a needs calculator on it, so it helps you understand what you need or don't need. We don't want you to pay for something you don't need. But this is the product in a nutshell. And here's your dental services. So if it's the base, it's $400. If it's bronze, it's $5, and then silver, and then gold. Gold, I would suggest, is a plan for someone that's going to take this as their only plan. If you're looking at a top-up plan, meaning that you already have some kind of insurance and you just need something that's going to take you to 100%, I would just go with a base plan. And all of our plans have registered specialists and therapists, so massage and chiro and that sort of thing. What's great, and these are the things I was talking about that probably, they're part of your plan, and absolutely you should take advantage of it, but some of them are for older people. All of our plans are you can claim online for. It's 24/7 availability. Your coverage starts the first day of the month after you're approved. So for example, if I buy it today, my coverage will be effective July 1. And so in the dental plans, there's no medical questionnaire, so fairly easy to navigate our program. And here's our special of the day. So if you spin the wheel, we have 3 chances to win $1,000. If you wanted to take down the www.quoteandspin.ca and give it a shot and have some fun. We always love gamification. It's very interesting because it does take you through the quote system so that you're able to see what I just explained to you. And that's our Donica. She's our bilingual licensed insurance advisor. She's in Halifax, and she's our star. Thank you so much. And over to you, Jacob.
Thank you very much, Carmela. It was really interesting, and I definitely took that website down to spin the wheel and to win $1,000. All right, so let me just start sharing my screen here. All right, so extremely happy to be with you guys this afternoon to present to you the home and auto insurance information session from TD Insurance. Just before we get going, I'll let you know that the presentation today, the goal of the presentation is not necessarily to give you, legal advice or insurance advice. It's basically to give you a good overview of what is insurance, how you can save on insurance. We'll talk about the different factors that play into role when it comes to the premiums that you pay for your insurance policies. But the best bet or the best place to refer yourself for your policy itself, it's really your insurance wording with your policy papers. So to give you a little bit of a background between TD Insurance and McGill, we go way back. We go all the way back to 1994, where we started providing alumni with preferred rates on home and auto insurance. TD Insurance is part, obviously, of the bigger TD Bank Group, one of Canada's largest financial institutions. We've earned our place as the largest direct response home and auto insurance group and one of the top 3 personal home and auto insurance groups in Canada. And we offer our group rates to over 750 different organizations for their home and auto insurance needs. All right, so the purpose, like I said earlier, of today's webinar is really to provide you with an overview of the feature and benefits of TD Insurance program. We'll go through things like how insurance works, how to better protect yourself, what to do in case you have a car accident. And I would tell you that on average, people spend maybe 10 minutes per year thinking about insurance. And as you all know, your car and your home are most probably your biggest purchases that you'll ever make in your life. And the goal today is to give you something to think about when it comes to better protecting yourself and protecting your goods when it comes to organizing your insurance needs. So how does insurance work? We often ask ourselves, okay, is insurance complicated? Well, it's not that complicated. To put it in simple words for you guys tonight, it's basically if we're all on this call putting money in a basket or putting money in a fund, and one of us basically, something happens, we have a claim, we have a car accident, we come and we take money from that fund, right? So everybody's contributing to that basket, and when unexpected events happen, we go in and we take money from that fund collectively, and the goal basically of the insurance company is to make sure that that basket never gets too low in order to continue paying those claims that might happen. Every single dollar that you guys pay in terms of insurance and your insurance policies, here's how it's basically split up. So you'll see that almost 57 cents on every dollar goes to claims. So either to rebuild homes, either to replace cars, provide medical services, or just regular day-to-day claims that we would have. So 57% or 57 cents goes to around that. Around 21 cents and a half or 22 cents goes to operating expenses, which is everything that has to do with administration, payroll. 14 cents or 13.6% goes to our government, so taxes. And finally, around 8 cents goes to are being reinvested to better serve our customers and process improvement. So as you can see, on a yearly basis, it really depends how the claims are going. If it's a good year and we have less claims, then the company will make more benefits. But if it's a tougher year in terms of claims, well, you can see that a big portion of that dollar goes to claim payments. Another fun illustration here is, as you can see, throughout the years, every single year, insurance companies pay more and more money in terms of claims. That's data from the Insurance Bureau of Canada. And just to give you a rough example, in 2016, it was one of the highest, or the worst year for catastrophic events. If you all remember, there was the Fort McMurray wildfires in Alberta, and over $3.8 billion was paid in claims. Nearly 90,000 people were evacuated. 2,500 homes were destroyed. Thousands and thousands of vehicles were destroyed as well, and over 60,000 claims were basically produced during those wildfires. Another example to make it clear is, let's say if you take a little accident as a bumper-to-bumper 10 years ago and a bumper-to-bumper accident today, it's more expensive to pay the damages today to that bumper, just because back in the days it was just either plastic or metal, and now we have all kinds of sensors, we have all kinds of cameras, including in our cars. So it's all fun in terms of technology, but when it comes to replace those parts, it is more expensive today than it was 10 years ago. Okay, so let's talk about car insurance itself. So obviously, you're insured for your car, depending if you take one-way insurance or two-way insurances. Depending on the province where you live as well, you'll be covered for your injuries and compensation if you miss work. In Quebec, I'll talk to Quebec because we're in Quebec. We have the government insurance, which is the SAAQ. Therefore, you're Regular policy would only cover your liability if you cause damage to somebody else's property and the damages to your car. And when it comes to your injuries or compensations, it really would go through the SAAQ. All right, so these are fun little questions that we'll answer together. So the color of your car affects your insurance premium. So that one, I would say it's definitely false. We can see that the insurance industry is colorblind. It doesn't matter if your car is red, black, blue. Your insurance price will not be impacted by the color of your car. Even if it's red, often we think that red cars are faster, but it doesn't impact your insurance premium. Next one, your location in Canada affects your insurance price. Definitely true. As you can notice, if you live in Montreal, for example, or if you live outside of Montreal, it would have an impact on your price, just because in Montreal you'll have a higher frequency of accidents. There's more cars on the roads, and depending of the area where you live as well, if it's an area that cars get stolen more often than another, it will also have a effect on your premium. Certain cars models have higher insurance premiums than others. Definitely true. If you compare one model to another, you'll see that the repair cost can be definitely different, and one car can be definitely more stolen than other cars. A fun fact is that every year the Insurance Bureau of Canada publishes a list of the top 10 stolen cars in Canada, which is always a list that is fun to see and see how things are going. Getting a parking ticket means your insurance premium will go up. False. So it has absolutely no impact on your insurance premium. But getting a speeding ticket means your insurance premium will go up. That's definitely true. And the last one, if you have an accident in the US, your car insurance will protect you. That's also very true. All right, so we talked a bit earlier how the insurance premiums are determined by the insurance company. So obviously, simple things out. What car do you drive? We spoke about that earlier. How often do you drive? How far do you drive to school or to work on a daily basis? Your age, if you're driving for commercial purposes or not. The driving history of every single driver that is on your policy. Where you live. And finally, we said earlier, the coverage that you will choose, either one-way insurance or two-way insurance. Different ways you can save on those premiums. Definitely, you have your McGill Alumni discount, which is definitely great to have. If you do buy online, if you buy insurance online, you'll most probably get a good discount for that as well. If you have 2 or more vehicles with us, we'll bring you a discount. It's always good, I would say, to bundle all your cars together and your home insurance and car insurance together in order to get the maximum amounts of discounts possible. And obviously, the fact that you have no accidents for a specific period of time will also play a role in the discount portion. So what do you do when you have an accident? First of all, stay calm. I think that's the thing to do. Obviously, sometimes when we have an accident, we can be anxious. We can be in a panic mode. So keep yourself and others safe. If you feel that you're in a danger, make sure that you move the car on the side of the road. Make sure that there's no danger that other cars can hit you as well. If your car is not drivable, make sure to turn on your hazard lights. Call the authorities. Exchange information with the other party. And what I mean by exchanging information, it's their name, their driver license, their license number, their plate number, insurance company, policy number, what kind of car they were driving. Today with our cell phones, it's very easy as well to take pictures. So take as many pictures as you can of the scene, and don't forget to collect witness information as well. All these things that you're going to collect are going to play a critical role when you're going to call your insurance company to get a claim. Regardless of the circumstances, try not to sign any documents or promise to pay any damages to the other party. Contact your insurance company before you get the repairs done, obviously, and prepare an inventory of all the property destroyed, damaged, or stolen as a result of the loss. Okay, so let's jump into home insurance now. When we talk about home insurance, we talk about either you're a homeowner, you can be a condo owner, you can be a tenant. When you're a homeowner, obviously the building is protected, and any detached private structure as well, it will be protected, such as a garage or a carport. If you're a tenant, if you have a tenant policy, obviously the building or the unit is not protected because you don't own it, but everything that is inside, so all your belongings are protected. When you purchase a home policy as well, your personal property will be protected. Even if you go to temporarily outside of your home, so let's say on vacation, a certain amount of the belongings that you have at home will be covered as well. Your investments, so any improvements that you have done to your units or to your home will also be protected. Additional living expenses, what I mean by that is, let's say you have a claim, you have a fire, and you have to move out from your home for the next month or two. Well, obviously, you'll have to relocate to a hotel, and this will be covered under your additional living expenses, the hotel charges. Another little question for you guys. Home insurance covers the market value of your home or your house. So that's false. Home insurance does not cover market value. It covers the rebuilding or replacement value of your house. The difference here is that often we see that the market value can be lower or higher than the rebuilding cost, but it doesn't take into consideration the market value. And back to the example of the house burning down earlier, the land is still there. So the land is, the land won't go away even if there's a fire, and your insurance does not need to replace the land, but just the home that is on. A couple of things to take into consideration when you look at your premium for your home policy. So obviously, age of the building, the age of the roof, what kind of heating do you have, what kind of electricity do you have at home, do you have a wood stove, is your basement finished, do you have any claims in the last couple of years, the amount and type of coverages that you want. And once again, like in auto insurance, location is key. If you're living in a risky zone for theft or flood or earthquakes, well, obviously this will have an impact on your price. Same way as for car insurance, couple of tricks here to save you some money. Digital discount, if you're mortgage free, is going to give you a discount as well. Claims free, approved alarm or home security system. Once again, bundle always your car and your home insurance together. Review your policy coverages and limits. The famous McGill preferred rates, that's going to come in handy as well. And finally, your deductible. I always tell people to increase your deductible because often people have a $200 or $300 deductible and they would never claim for anything under $1,000. So if you bring your deductible up, it's going to bring your price down and you'll be able to save a couple of bucks. And finally, if you want to learn more, you can visit our website at tdinsurance.com/McGill Alumni, and you'll be able to do online quotes, get different questions answered as well. And yeah, so this concludes my presentation for today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jakub, for this presentation. And we're just waiting for Carmelina and Danica to join us for the Q&A. Both presentations were extremely good and extremely informative, so thank you so much. Carmelina and Danica, if you could join us, that would be amazing. Thank you. Oh, I think we're waiting for Carmelina, but otherwise we might be able to start. Here, perfect. Welcome back, Carmelina. Thank you for your presentation. We will proceed to the Q&A now. We have Danica among us with all great insights. So we have received quite a bit of questions. So we'll get a head start, and hopefully we'll manage to get through all the questions and have some interesting conversation. But there were some specific technical questions to Carmelina or Danica. What is the advantage of the two plans that Manulife has? Is one better for younger people, or is it really based on maybe how much you have in budget or you can afford?
So in my experience, it really depends on your whole life that you want to take as a picture in consideration. So age can play a factor, but so can any pre-existing medical conditions, so can what your needs are. Some people will use some services more than others, right? I myself get regular massages, but that doesn't mean that everyone who's giving me a call, that is the top priority on their list for insurance. So you want to balance out what someone's needs are versus what our plan's offering and find the one that best fits the client, because it's things that change, but you also want to look both short-term and long-term. with our health plans, something to keep in mind, like Carmelina was mentioning earlier, we have our guaranteed issue plans and we have our medically underwritten plans. When we look at medically underwritten plans, you're locking in your good health. You're proving to us, to the insurance company, that so far you've taken good care of yourself. And so we are able to give you a higher level of coverage in case something happens in the future. Like Jakub mentioned earlier when he was talking about the home insurance and the auto insurance, insurance really is in case the unexpected happens. And so by telling us, I'm in good health, but in case something happens and I need this coverage, then you can look at that. But it really is balancing out each person's individual needs.
Very interesting. And so there was also a more technical questions, and I saw that Carmelina answered that question in the chat, but just in case not the audience didn't see it, how come there's a waiting period before the insurance coverage takes effect? There was like a 1 month deadline that was mentioned.
That's a really great question. So all of our plans start on the first day of the month to have a timeline for people to know what to expect. Our guaranteed issue plans are guaranteed issuance, so we can start them any day that you want, as long as it's the first day of the month. So, or any month, I should say, that you want. So if you're applying today on June 3rd, we can have the plan start on August 1st, if that's when you're going to be losing the group benefits coverage that you have and you need coverage. But it gives you that timeline to look at. In terms of our underwritten plans, the underwriting can take from 3 to 4 weeks. And so it gives you a timeline to know how far in advance you want to be applying for the plan and when to expect the plan to start.
Perfect. Thank you for the answer and the clarification. So now we can go a bit more about homeowner insurance, just to give Jakub some questions as well. So what insurance would you advise a new homeowner for their condo? What questions should they be asking themselves?
Sorry, can you repeat, Camille?
Yes,
question
sorry.
itself?
Yes. So what insurance would you advise a new homeowner for their new condo, for example? And what questions in general should they be asking themselves as they are approaching the market?
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, I think it all comes down to everybody's needs, right? So depending of what you're looking for, if you're looking for all perils, protection, then go with that. If you're looking for something more basic, obviously my suggestion is always to go with all perils, and then depending, of your needs, if you have a basement, finished basement or not, if you want to be covered for water damages, if, for example, you bought a house, you're newlyweds, you got a nice engagement ring, well, you should definitely look into that as well, right? So I think when somebody calls their insurance advisor, it's all these questions that they're going to be asked about, and often we say, oh well, there's a lot of insurance questions. We get asked a lot of questions from insurance companies, right? But at the end of the day, all the questions that we're asking is to better protect the client. So yeah, I think it depends on the needs, but I encourage everybody who's looking into a home policy, one is to have one, especially for a condo or tenant policy, is to call their insurance agent and at TD Insurance, and we'll be definitely glad to to answer all these questions and to ask further more questions to better understand everybody's situation.
So maybe a bit more on this though. With new purchase, new home, you talked about marriage, and so it's possible that you have a family that is living in that home. Is it possible to have an insurance policy that would cover, for example, the couple, or do each member of the family needs its own insurance policy?
Yeah, if it's the family, it covers the household, right? So if, let's say, I'm married and I have 2 kids, well, my policy will cover not only my kids but also my wife. So it's a policy that will cover the household. Yeah.
Does that work also with cars, or could you do that with cars as well, or does it add to the price as well?
Yeah, so basically the car, when you take an insurance policy for the car, it's always the owner of the car that's going to have the policy under his name. And if, let's say, I'm the owner of the car and my wife's an occasional driver on the policy, then yes, we would add my wife as an occasional driver. And obviously there will be a premium difference because between 1 driver and 2 drivers, depending on her driving record, her age, if she has any convictions, all those factors will play a role into the price.
And so is a credit score something that insurance look into when we are asking for a medical insurance or a car or home insurance? Donica, maybe if you want to answer that question.
I can start with that. From a health and dental insurance perspective, that's not something that we look into whatsoever. We ask for the method of payment, and it can be done by credit card or by pre-authorized debit from a bank account, but that's as much as we need. We just need you to make the payments in some way, shape, or form, but we don't look into your financial records to be able to apply for the coverage.
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of auto and home insurance, I would say that we do, when you do a quote, they'll ask you if you're okay to check to do a credit check, but it's a soft, if I can explain it that way, it's a soft check. So it's not like applying for a credit card. It's not like applying for a mortgage. It will not impact your credit rating.
Okay. Okay. Very good to know. Maybe Donica, could you go back into explaining a little bit more the difference between underwritten plan versus guaranteed plans? It was something mentioned at the beginning. Maybe Carmelina, if you wish to join on that conversation as well, please do.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So a guaranteed issue plan is exactly like it sounds. So another term that some companies will use is a guaranteed approval. So what it means is that no matter who you are, how old you are, how healthy or unhealthy you are guaranteed to be approved for the plan. With a medically underwritten plan, we look at your past medical history. So whether it's accidents or sports injuries or anything like that, that could impact your future claims and whether or not you are at a higher risk for making major claims in the future. And so when we ask people who are giving us a call, do they have any medical conditions? Do you take any prescription medications? I'm not trying to get an insight into your life and be nosy. I want an information and a full picture as to what your lifestyle is and what your needs are so that we can make proper recommendations. We don't ask that just because, we want to bother you and take up more of your day. We really want to make sure that you are getting the plan that best fits your needs.
Okay. And so because we live in Quebec, a lot of us are lucky enough to have the possibility to use the RAMQ.
Yes.
Why would you still encourage someone to have a private insurance when they are covered by the RAMQ already?
That's actually a great question, Camille. Unfortunately, as a province, there's not a whole lot of education as to how the RAMQ works, right? There isn't. We know that, we have our health card or our carte soleil, and that if we go to the hospital, we give it to them and it works. But with their plan, they also have a prescription drug component. So if you're covered under a group benefits plan, like many people are throughout university on a parents group benefits plan, for instance, you'll come off of that group benefits plan, and it is required by law that you enroll in the RAMQ's prescription drug plan unless you have another group plan to replace that. So you have to have one or the other. So if you go with one of our plans in terms of prescription drugs are second payer to the RAMQ's prescription plan. So when you go to the pharmacy, it's going to be the same thing as you did previously. They're going to put it through, but they'll put it through the RAMQ first, and then they'll put it through the Manulife plan second. And once it's gone through both, they're going to tell you, you owe us $2, right? So from that perspective, it works the same way, but there's a little bit more legwork in the background for you as the customer to make sure that you are eligible for the RAMQ's prescription drug coverage and that you are covered under it. And so unfortunately, the province does make you pay a certain amount per year for that. It's usually paid come tax time based on your income. And it is a very reasonable amount. And that is something that Manulife takes into account when we generate our premiums for clients in Quebec. So if you are living in Quebec, your insurance premiums that you're going to pay as an alumni living in Quebec after you graduate and with our insurance is going to be a lesser amount than if you're going to move to Ontario. Your premiums just by moving to Ontario are automatically going to increase, but it's because you don't have that prescription drug plan that's mandated by the government to help you pay those prescriptions.
Okay, well, yeah, very important clarification there. And so maybe to all of you here, does gender affect your insurance premium? And we're talking about different type of coverages, so I'm assuming that maybe the answer will vary a little bit there. Jakub, do you want to start?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's definitely different factors that play into a role. Age, gender, like we said, color of the car is not one of them, but I mean the model of the car. It's all about insurance is all about statistics, right? So depending on the area where you live, depending on if there's more cars being stolen on your street, and often, we talk to different friends or family members and we say, well, how come my neighbor, is not paying the same price as I am paying for my insurance, right? We have the same car or we have similar cars, we have similar homes, the value of the homes is the same, but it's all about, data, statistics, and it's case per case, I would say. So you can't really compare yourself to your friend, you can't really compare yourself to your neighbor because there's different factors that come into play other than just, the value of the home or your age or the model that you're driving.
In terms of health and dental insurance, gender does not play an impact. Age does, gender doesn't. Health conditions can during the underwriting process if it is a medically underwritten plan. Now that we are touching on health, though, I will mention that for life insurance, gender does have an impact on the premiums. So that is a surprise to a lot of people, but unfortunately it is based on life expectancy. And so that's how, actuarially we generate the prices and, someone gets the higher premiums, unfortunately. It's usually not a significant amount, but there is a little bit of a difference. Whereas with our alumni plans for health and dental, there are no differences.
And so how do you, it might be a very basic question, but how do you get all that knowledge? Is it only through, to try to really draw the profile of your clients? Is it through a lot of questions, or do you have to, you mentioned forms to fill out? Is there also like maybe data that you can use from other types of, I don't know, sources? How do you get all of that to build that profile?
So we're an old company, so we have a lot of data, over 140 years of data. So that's why, when we talked about being COVID ready, and we don't send nurses to your home to get fluids, we don't do all of that. We know exactly what people's life expectancy is. We do have some work around the gender because it's very, very important to us that we are respectful of one's gender. So as a result, there's specific conversations that need to be had from a life insurance perspective. But to Donica's point, gender does not make a play in health and dental at all. And yes, there is a ton of data, and so that's why we don't do all the, the 45 pages of questionnaires and stuff like that. We ask you 5 to 9 questions. It's really pretty.
So it's pretty easy to do. Okay. So based on all of that data, Jakub, do you have any thoughts on earthquake insurance for a Montreal located home? Is that a reasonable insurance?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I would say I would refer to yourself. How do you feel about it, right? Some people are more, let's say, they can't sleep at night because they feel there's going to be an earthquake tomorrow morning. Some people, maybe don't care as much about an earthquake. So it comes to, I think, personal choice. Obviously, there's a premium related to earthquake insurance, but I think it's difficult to answer that question because it depends how the customer or how you feel about earthquakes. We had one not long ago. I think we all felt it, but it goes to personal choice, right? It's depending the coverages. It's always about personal choice, I would say, how you feel about certain situations and how comfortable you are with that happening.
And while the plans and the coverages varies a lot, as you said, because of personal preferences, what is typically not covered by a homeowner's insurance and that we should know about?
Well, if you take, let's say, all perils, there's exclusions in your contract, right? So basically, that's why we sell different endorsements that complete that protection, for example. But one of the examples would be water damage, right? So if basement gets flooded with dirty water damage, or sewer backup, for example, well, that's not covered in your basic policy. You would have to add an endorsement for it to be covered. Earthquake is another one. There's different other endorsements that we offer, like identity theft, for example. But in terms of water, all clean water is covered in your home. But as soon as we talk about, let's say, dirty water or that comes from the ground, then it's not covered.
Thank you. And someone had a question more about, could you please clarify how and why the insurance premium goes up if someone has a speeding ticket?
Had a speeding ticket?
Yeah.
Okay, well, speeding ticket obviously can be speeding. Parking, we said it earlier, doesn't affect it, but speeding, it's all about, again, risk, right? It's somebody who speeds. We tend to think, well, you got one speeding ticket, it's fine, you know, it won't go up as much. But if you have 2 or 3 or 4, well, you're considered maybe as somebody who's not driving as carefully as he should be, or not respecting the limits, right? So that's why it's a risk factor, like living in downtown Montreal, where there's more traffic, there's more cars, there's more chances of having you know, a bumper to bumper or an accident in Montreal than maybe somewhere outside of Montreal. Or
is one ticket enough to trigger that bump in price, maybe? Or is
it won't be, yeah, it won't be that much. Obviously, it comes into consideration, yes, but not like if you had 3 or 4, you know. But yes, it comes into the data in the back.
So drive responsibly. It's important.
Drive responsibly. Respect the speed limits. Make your stop signs.
And so maybe more generally, what should a newly undergraduate student know about insurance? So it's a bit different now. It's a question from a undergrad student still at school, maybe not on their parents' coverage. What should they know about? Because home and car might not be applicable. Is health insurance the only insurance, the coverage that applies to them, or is there something else that we could think of? Danica, I don't know if it's outside of scope here, but if you had an idea. Oh. Am I the only one who cannot hear you? Jacob, can I?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you. Maybe I'll jump in quickly before Danica gets her volume back. But I was talking earlier about tenant insurance, right? So even if you don't own a home yet, even if you don't have a car yet, but you are renting a place, I strongly recommend you to get tenant insurance, even if it's for, you know, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 for your belongings. It at least covers you for that if something happens, because we often see that you know, there might be a fire in the building and people have no coverages, and they pretty much lose everything, and it's really sad to see.
Very good. Danica, can you hear?
Yes. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, I think from an undergrad perspective, everyone is very budget conscious. I would recommend at least having a basic level of coverage, right? I remember being an undergrad. I remember trying to make ends meet. But trying to make ends meet when you have unexpected ambulance bills, or you have, you know, an unexpected chipped tooth that is bothering you, makes that struggle that much worse. So from that perspective, I would look at getting a base plan that you can start off with, and then as you progress through life or you graduate from university, you can always upgrade that plan. So you're never locked in. You're able to upgrade that and find something that will better meet your needs down the road when you move into the next chapter of your life.
Very good. And maybe another question for you, as it gets a bit more specific here. So the person says that they have already graduated, and the startup that the person is working for does not offer insurance. She will go to BC in September, which will offer this insurance, but she feels insecure about insurance. Is there any suggestion about the current situation? Should she wait? Should she take a private insurance for the meantime?
Yeah, I think it's not unreasonable to feel insecure to not have insurance.
Yeah.
And a lot of startups, and it is more and more common today to have small businesses and have startup companies. And, you know, we're coming out of a pandemic and people are trying to get back on their feet. Group benefits aren't necessarily going to be offered to all of the new hires right away. So looking at an individual plan fits that solution, right? It solves that problem. And whether it's for a short-term period until you're able to get onto a group benefits plan, or you keep it long-term. So some people will decide that once they get their group benefits, depending on who they're working with, will provide them with fantastic coverage, and they don't feel the need to have the two plans. But as Carm mentioned earlier, some insurance plans through employers aren't a complete package or won't cover dental coverage, or there are certain things that are missing. So the plan can be kept to fill in those gaps too.
Perfect, thank you. So maybe from both of you, how much can someone expect to pay for insurance? Maybe as a basic and then a bit more in terms of home and car, basic to gold. What are the average prices?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really does depend on age. So age plays a huge factor in health insurance. Unfortunately, most people as we get older don't get healthier. If anybody does, please tell me your secret. I am open to all of them. But for the time being, this is my reality. So probably a lot of yours too. So when we're looking at plans, we're usually looking between $100 and $200 a month, depending on what range you're going with. And so it depends on what you're looking for to meet your needs. All of our health and dental plans can be purchased for individuals or they can be purchased for families. They are all priced on an individual basis. So if it's myself and my spouse, there's going to be a discount for both of us, but we are both going to pay our own amount, and the kids would be an add-on to that as well. So that's something to take into consideration. And speaking of families, not everybody has to have the same exact coverage. So what works for me might not work for my significant other, and that's fine. We're able to find plans that work for everyone in the family so that, again, you're getting the best coverage and you're making what makes the most sense both financially and risk-wise for yourself and your family.
Very good. Jakub, do you wish to add anything to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I won't say a coffee a day, even though it might be a coffee a day or $1 a day, but I would say that once again, a bit like Donica said, it depends what you're what you're insuring, what kind of car you're insuring, what kind of home you're insuring. But what I want to focus on is maybe the discounts or where you can save some money. There's all kinds of way of saving money. We talked about it earlier. Bundle your stuff together. So you have a car, you have a home. Bundle it together. You have one car, 2 cars at home, bundle them together. It's going to bring you multi-line, multi-product discounts. Get advantage of that McGill Alumni discount. It plays a huge role. And if somebody's wondering how much can we expect to pay for insurance, go online, go make a quote. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to make a quote, and depending on the choices that you'll have, is going to give you a price with your McGill discount. So definitely worth your while for 10 minutes to spend your time.
So that leads me to another question. How many times should you maybe revisit the insurance plans that you have? Maybe you purchased quite a while ago and it's been 3 years, you haven't talked to anyone in insurance, maybe coverages have changed, your needs have changed. Is there an annual meeting that is recommended?
It's good to revisit it every single year, I would say, so every 12 months. Just to see exactly what you said, if the needs have changed, right? If I got married, if I have a kid, if I finished my basement, for example, because you might purchase initially your insurance with your basement unfinished, you change your roof, you're mortgage free now. So all these little things come into play in order for you at the end of the day to either better protect your home or your car, and to save money if you can. But every 12 months, I would say every year, it's good to revisit. When you get your renewal, go over it. I know we don't all read our renewals because it might be a bit longer, to be completely honest. But make sure to take that 10-15 minutes, call your advisor, and spend some time with them.
Very good. Danica, do you wish to expand a little bit more, or?
No, I would agree with Jakub. I think it's good to know what kind of coverage you have and to review it at, renewal time, or when we send you a notice or when we send you a letter. In terms of health and dental insurance, when you have significant life events, you're getting married, you're having kids, it's things that you're going to want to look at your policy for to make sure that, every individual is covered. But it's not something that I would necessarily recommend calling your advisor once a year to go over the coverage, because more than likely it hasn't changed that much, and your needs from a medical perspective likely haven't changed that much. If there are significant changes, then yes, definitely give us a call and we'll make sure that you still have the best coverage that you should have.
Perfect. And so now a bit more of a technical questions for people who are self-employed. Do you know of any options for group benefits without an employer that provides a group benefits package?
That is a great question. Some associations in Quebec do provide a group type plan for the members of their associations. And if we touch back onto the RAMQ's requirements, any association that does provide a group benefits plan, the member does have to adhere either to that or to the coverage offered by their employer. In other provinces, there's a little bit more flexibility, but there's no, group plan for self-employed per se. If you are, a startup company and you have a handful of employees that you want to make sure have coverage, or you want to be able to provide them or pay for part of their coverage, we can definitely help you structure something like that for them with one of our health and dental plans. They'll all be individually owned. Everybody can have a different plan, but we can discuss that with them. But again, it's not going to be a group plan per se.
Perfect. So last questions. I think we are pretty much done, so then we can just maybe wrap it up, and unless there is something you would like to say. Is there anything else on insurance that we should know, or maybe that young alumni have a tendency to mythologize or to have a wrong interpretation of, and that you would like to clarify? So maybe Jakub, if you want to start, I know you already went through a list of myths. If you have another one, maybe.
Yeah, basically maybe something to clarify. Obviously, car insurance is mandatory, right? So you have no choice. If you buy a car, it's mandatory. You have no choice to cover it. If you have a mortgage with a bank for your home, you have to get insurance because it's mandatory. They won't give you a loan without the insurance. But it's just going back to, I think, to when you're a tenant, when you're renting a place, the importance of getting insurance. I think that's something we focus a lot on, just because to better protect yourself. And yeah, that will be it. The myths, I would say, we went through some of them. One doesn't come to mind right now, but like I said earlier, I encourage everybody to get insurance. One, and two, if you have any kind of questions about your policies with TD, to give us a call, and we'll be glad to go over them.
Danica?
Yeah, Carm works with a lot of alumni associations. I'm wondering if she has any thoughts on this before I share mine. Maybe not. What I will say is insurance advisors are not scary. When you call us, like I said, we ask a lot of questions because we want to make sure, and like Jakub said, we want to make sure that we're getting you the product that fits your needs, but we're not scary. And no question is, to put it, no question is too stupid to be asking your insurance advisor, because you don't know what you don't know. And the only way to get that information is to ask the question. Insurance can be complicated, but our goal is to make it as understandable as possible. Because if you look at everything and you take, try to eat the whole elephant, it's going to be a lot harder than taking it one bite at a time. So let us help you eat that elephant one bite at a time.
Such a good analogy. But well, thank you so much to the three of you for joining us. It was extremely insightful. I learned a lot. I hope everyone did. For the audience, you will have a link soon by email, so you can maybe share or look at that presentation again if you wish to take some notes. Otherwise, please feel free to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and please feel free to link with our speakers. We will have other events by the end of June on public speaking and on the arts of conflict resolution, so keep an eye out for those events, and we hope to see you around. Thank you so much and have a great day.